and welcome. Thank you for joining me at the table. I'm Thomas Dodderwick, and this week I'm once again on location in Billings, visiting with Adam Liberty. He's the president of the Billings Catholic Schools Foundation.
Thomas, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk big picture just a little bit about what a foundation is. We hear community foundations. We hear of the Catholic Foundation of Eastern Montana and now the Billings Catholic Schools Foundation. What is a foundation in the broad terms?
Like every other nonprofit, 501c3, we are 501c3. We are a public charity, just like many others. But for us at the Billings Catholic Schools, we are a part of the Billings Catholic Schools, although we're sort of this other entity over here. Right? And it's really a way for us to focus specifically on donor relations, ensuring that our students, our families, our schools, our teachers, our staff have the necessary support that they need, the resources that they need coming from the community. And so really that's where my focus is as the foundation. The foundation goes out into the community. They have those donor relationships for so many people who want to support our schools, who want to come, and really it's a ministry. It's a ministry to them so that they can take their time, their talent, and their treasure and be able to put that toward the Catholic schools and everybody that it impacts. So that's our focus. And in that way, the Catholic schools can then focus again on what they do well. What do they do well at? They do well at ministering to students in faith, family spirit, academic excellence. That's what they do really well. What I do really well is that. And together, along with the diocese, we got kind of this, I call it the Holy Trinity. We got this Holy Trinity here that makes up the Billings Catholic Schools. So that's my piece of it. Obviously, the schools have the schools, the teachers, the diocese brings in the faith, and all together we support and minister to our students and our families.
And so how is it that the Billings Catholic Schools Foundation does that? In what practical ways do we actually see the Billings Catholic Schools Foundation supporting the schools?
Absolutely. Anytime we talk about foundations, usually we're talking about endowments. That's always one of the big pieces to this. The Catholic Foundation of Eastern Montana has endowments for the diocese and your various ministries. Judy Held does wonderful work over there, and everybody should support what she does because she does incredible work. And so similarly, I know she's been on the program before. Go back and check that one out, I'm sure. But we do something similar for Catholic schools here. So certainly the endowments, supporting students with scholarship dollars, with tuition assistance, but then also like special projects. So curriculum is always such a needed expense. Books, well, it's not even books anymore, it's all online stuff, right? But you also need all the subscriptions, all of the technology, those pieces that come together to make an education what it is. And of course, Billings Catholic Schools, partly being what it is, the extracurriculars and the athletics, they're important around here. In fact, I always say the extracurriculars around Catholic schools is part of the secret sauce that makes Catholic schools what it is. It really does. It's not just coming into school, doing your work, and then going away for the day, right? It's coming, being a part of the community, staying afterward, doing the clubs, doing the athletics, and being invested in what's going on. And part of that is just increasing the excellence within students. It's so incredible when you see a student do that. So our job then is all of that, to support those students in those things, those families in those things. We crafted a vision statement this last year, and part of that vision statement really says, for anybody who wants a Catholic education, they will receive a Catholic education. We really desire that. Of course, there's logistics and things within that, but someday we have a vision out there that anybody who wants to attend Billings Catholic Schools can come. No matter their socioeconomic status, all of that, that is a vision that we have for our schools and for our families and for our community.
And what you're doing really is building on the back of those who came before you. We're celebrating or marking the 50th anniversary of the Billings Catholic Schools Foundation.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the origins of the foundation.
Yes. Thank you for asking that. So this is our 50th year. Prior to the foundation being formed, 50 years ago, we had the Billings Area Catholic Education Trust. And the story is really tremendous, and it really is about the power of philanthropy within our community. So 50 years ago, and Thomas, I don't know if you know this, all across the nation in the last 50 years, 1 out of every 2 Catholic schools have closed.
Wow.
Yeah, all across the nation. So as I say, any Catholic school that's still open today is beating the odds. They are beating the odds. And so often what it comes down to is fundraising, community support. And that's what the foundation does. And that's why the Billings Area Catholic Education Trust, I'm not going to say that the whole time, we call it BACET. And there's a story there too. That's why they started BACET so many years ago, to be able to start this endowment, this trust, this invested pool of assets, to be able to provide consistent, ongoing funding for our schools. Again, whether through scholarships, whether through supportive programs, teachers, facilities, all of these various things. So it really actually started with a gentleman, if you're from the Billings area, you'll know this name, Philip Fortin. Philip Fortin, he had heard rumors of Billings Central going under, really at its demise. And it was true. It was, at the time, there was open question if Billings Central Catholic High School was going to stick around. And so he pulled in a friend of his, a guy by the name of R.J. Studer. And I assume it's at a table just like this, and he says, "Come here, I had just given a gift. If the Catholic schools go under, have we made a difference?" And that's the famous question, have we made a difference? And R.J. Studer took that, he went back to some of his brother, his other friends, the other school board members, and it actually launched them into action.
You use the acronym BACET. Where is that now?
So BACET, what is it now? It is still the endowments of Catholic schools. Right now it stands at $16 million, which is tremendous. It provides over $600,000 annually to the Catholic schools. And really, it's what is backing the schools. I told you I was going to tell you another story. Why is it named BACET? Well, there's another individual by the name of Chuck Herringer. Chuck has been around a long time within our schools. He is a good member of our Catholic schools family, and he put great thought to that name, the Billings Area Catholic Education Trust. And they knew they weren't going to call it that. They were going to acronymize it. And what were they going to acronymize it to? BACET. So that when they go to donors, when they go to folks, they can ask them, "Will you back it?" I know. I know. That's right. Cheesy, but effective.
It works.
Effective. It did absolutely work. So, but yeah, that is where we're at now. But we're not just talking about BACET now. We're not talking about BACET in the past. We really need, the Billings Catholic Schools really needs BACET for the future. There is no Billings Catholic Schools without BACET. And so, you know, what would our Catholic schools look like in Billings if BACET wasn't just 16 million, but 25 million? 35 million, 40 million, 50 million. You know, so many more students could come here. We could pay our teachers better. We could, our facilities would be up to date. All of those things that Catholic schools tend to struggle with over time. You know, those things, being able to put toward BACET would make incredible, incredible, incredible difference for our schools really going forward into the future.
That number that you're talking about, the 16 million, is endowed. Let's talk a little bit about what an endowment is and how that benefits the funding of the school system or any organization, really.
Yes, so endowments are critically important. What is an endowment? Essentially, an endowment is a pooled set of investment funds. So, and then we take a percentage of that pooled fund. Usually it's somewhere between 4-5%, and we take that every year and be able to give that back to the schools in the form, again, of scholarships, facility support, tuition assistance, general operation dollars. Those things are so critical for the schools to be able to rely on each and every year. So again, what does endowments do? They provide for the stability. And that's really the second part of our mission. We're both fundraising and the endowments, the lasting stability of the schools. You know, so if, as I like to say, if the Catholic schools are going, Billings Catholic schools are going to be here until Christ comes back, and that's when they need to be here until Christ comes back. The answer then is BACET. It is the endowments. And the same goes for any Catholic institution, the diocese, any of the churches, to be able to have an endowment backing them until Christ comes back. That is what they need. They need resource to be able to keep moving forward. So,
to be clear for our viewers,
yes,
the endowments, the foundation, BACET, is not the only financial resources that the schools have.
No, absolutely
not. It's just an additional.
Yes, it's one way to do this. When it comes to schools, there's a few different ways to go. For us, of course, tuition is the largest portion of any school's budget, of course. We in Billings are so blessed to have our 5 parishes, and each one of those 5 parishes give a percentage of their own offertory over to the schools. As I like to say, during Catholic Schools Week, we go into the parishes, we talk about what Catholic Schools is doing, and yes, we have St. Francis over at St. Thomas, but we also have St. Bernard's, we have St. Pat's, we have Mary Queen of Peace, St. Pius. And I always say to them, you do have Catholic schools. Just because we're not physically located on your campus, that does not mean that you don't have a Catholic school. You do have a parish Catholic school, and it is Billings Catholic Schools. And so much, each year they give. This year it's $645,000 from the 5 parishes. Wow. Supporting Catholic kids. So if you go to a Catholic parish, you will automatically receive that a certain scholarship, Catholic scholarship. So because the Catholic parishes too also want to see their kids going to Catholic schools. Mm-hmm. So.
Let's talk about different ways that people can give, because let's say I don't have a whole lot of money right now, but I might have a life insurance policy or something for when I do die. What are the different channels that I could give to the foundation? Oh,
that's a great question. There are so many different ways. Of course, you can start thinking about it now. One of the easiest ways is leaving a gift in your will or your trust, whatever that is for you. When we all pass and we receive our eternal reward, right? We have to do something with those assets. So one of the easiest ways is to simply just do that. Give it as a portion of your estate. But then there's also other ways, whether it is through that life insurance policy. Right now in Montana, we have a very attractive thing called the Montana Endowment Tax Credit, where folks can set up an endowment now or just give to our regular endowment, and they'll be able to receive a 40% tax credit on their gift. The state of Montana wants to see endowments grow, and what better way than giving to Catholic schools, to the Catholic diocese, to your churches, to your parishes, than going this route with it, being able to use that Montana endowment tax credit. It's clear you're passionate about the work you do. Why does it matter? Why does Catholic education matter so much that we should have a foundation that can help it until Christ's come back? The reason Catholic education is so important is because our aim is so much higher in education. When I go around and I go out and speak, I often talk about the differences. And people ask me, what's the difference between the public schools and Catholic schools? Because if you haven't experienced it, you don't know. Mm-hmm. So what I often tell them in response is, it's the difference in 2 words. And the difference is the difference between education and formation. We're not just educators. We are formators of children, their faith, their family spirit, and their excellence. And so we always want to draw it back to that mission. So for me, we want to see families come in, engage with what's going on, inform them in our Catholic faith, our Catholic tradition, be able to nurture them in that spirit of family, of virtue, and then to pursue truth in all of its forms. And that's a much higher aim than education broadly. So often when we talk about public schools, and public schools are terrific. I'm a public school kid too. But their highest aim is often towards a career. And that's fine. Our aim isn't career. Our aim is heaven. Our aim is God.
What would you say right now if you had the opportunity to speak to our viewers about why they should support the foundation and how they can support the foundation?
Absolutely. So Billings Catholic Schools Foundation, of course, go to our website at billingscatholicschoolsfoundation.org. Check it out there. We have our BACET story up there. We have all sorts of various other ways to get involved, whether it's Rams Day of Giving, Mayfair, of course, just through the various annual giving campaigns toward tuition assistance and scholarships, those sorts of things. So why should they give? It's the same reason I just told you. If your aim is a little bit higher, if you want to see more of our Catholic students and kids coming to Catholic schools, this is the way to do it. This is the way to support them. And if your vision is the same as our vision, that everybody who wants a Catholic education should come to Billings Catholic Schools.
Give that website address one more time just to make sure they can know how to get there.
Yes, BillingsCatholicSchoolsFoundation.org.
Adam, thank you for taking time today to sit down and visit with me about the Billings Catholic School Foundation and BACET.
Thank you.